Hey everybody, I'm here at PAX with Joe Feeler and Paul Neurath, and we are talking about their new game Underworld Ascendant. Alright, so for those five people on the internet, those six sad people that don't know who you who are you and what do you do?
I'm the founder of Otherside, and probably best known, I founded Looking Glass that did the original Underworld games, as well as System Shock and Thief. And we're taking Underworld forward with Underworld Ascendant, innovating in new ways.
Yeah, I'm Joe Fielder. I'm the writer and director of the game, and I'm formerly of Bioshock Infinite, and I was a level designer at EA as well.
So something I noticed with this game. I mean, obviously, with your guys' work in Bioshock, System Shock, Thief, at that point, while there were a lot of there were games that had RPG elements and a lot of first person games, but it wasn't nearly as much as it is now. Now, in your guys' opinions, what do you think of the way the industry has evolved in that way? And do you think maybe so many games bringing those elements to it has almost made it lesser in some ways? Or what do you think it's done for it?
I'm actually surprised that there aren't more games today that use the first-person immersive approach, player-authored approach. We did Underworld in 1992. That was a few years ago, and we thought that there'd be more games that would sort of take that genre and take it forward. There have been some, certainly the Bioshock, Dishonored series, some others, but it's still a relatively few games use that approach. Most games still today, a designer scripts, how the game's to be solved, creates the puzzles, and the player, comes up with what it is, trying to think what the designer is trying to solve for to come up with it. We really look at player authorship as being leading the way, where we put the tools in the player's hands and let them creatively come up with solutions. Still pretty slim pickings for that kind of game.
Yeah. Underworld Descendant really is not a linear one way to play through the game, one way to play through a level. Every time you enter into one of the spaces, options are different, challenges are different, and the player has a vast array of different combat skills, stealth abilities, magical spells, and opportunities in the environment for using different flora and fauna to your advantage. So we really want you to be able to come up with your own solutions to challenges that you meet within the game that we haven't even thought of.
Now, one of the things I've noticed with games with very open gameplay, very open exploration, multiple ways to solve problems, that one of the big issues, especially if you go back to the first Portal, is that sometimes by having such a range of that and such openness, is that people are almost able to break the game in some ways. Now, was there anything that you guys had to do in order to prevent something like that while working on the game?
You want me to?
Sure.
It's not really much as looking at ways to break the game, and that's really something that happens a lot for games that are more linear, where you want to have one set experience, where you really want to kind of railroad people along. For us, for the Looking Glass games or the Otherside games, it's really about giving the player the tools, and however they come up with the solutions is up to them. It's very I've talked to friends who worked on Looking Glass games in the past, and a lot of the QA issues that would come up were really, hey, can you complete this level? Yes. Well, there's still options, for you, and the opportunities were a multitude for solving. So you don't really have to railroad. It's really more about empowering the player.
We really want to reward creativity, and so there's never one right solution or one best solution. And we reward you, give you feeds for coming up with new ways to solve things. Some maybe feel awkward or be far from optimal. Maybe you took a lot of damage, or you had to go through a very circuitous route to get to it, but you still solved it. And so it's really coming up with your crazy creative solution to things that maybe no other player has figured out yet.
Something I wanted to ask about was actually going back to the Bioshock games in comparison to System Shock games.
Mm-hmm.
And so being like between System Shock and Bioshock, System Shock almost has very much until within certain points of the game, it has very much a slow burn. And with Bioshock, it definitely, especially as we moved into Infinite, it seemed like it definitely got a lot faster. Now, I wanted to ask, what was the reason that you guys moved from going from that slow speed to that fast speed within the game?
Well, the Bioshock series was made from Irrational. I only was worked on that series a little bit, so
Okay.
I wasn't part of the full arc. But I think it was really just how that series evolved over time and what the priorities were. Otherside, I think we really look at some of the original Looking Glass games as inspiration, like the original Ultima Underworld, which really, if you play it now, you can really see how it inspired games like System Shock, like Bioshock, Deus Ex. But there's so many elements to it that haven't been followed up on that in some cases we're running with, and in some cases we're trying to do things that are completely new. It's really it's been a real education working with the team who've worked on some of these stellar games, and everyone's really devoted to coming up with new ways to innovate within the genre.
I gotta say, I really like that because I've seen some companies when they try to either bring back developers who've worked on games that have a strong following or strong cult following, and the thing that I've noticed is there is very much a lack of risk versus reward, and you see a lot of them leaning on those trappings. So, something I've noticed with this in comparison to other games that there's a lot of risk being taken,
Yeah.
and it's kind of interesting.
Definitely, and that's I'm not into the nostalgia of gaming so much, and particularly when you work on a game like Underworld, the original Underworld, or System Shock. When you've built the game, you have a different view of it than if you're a player or a fan of the game. To me, to really honor the heritage of those games, it's about innovation. We took big risks with those games when we made them, and that's really what's most important. That we continue to take creative risks and continue to push it forward. We learned a lot in those games, and some things we knew we wouldn't do again. So with Underworld Ascent, it's a chance to move things forward. We're taking forward some of the narrative threads, characters, and story. So we have some nice fictional connection with the original Underworld. But in terms of gameplay, we're really doing some genuine innovations and trying to push the genre forward.
Yeah, it's not a game that you need to have played earlier games in the series to enjoy. It definitely picks right up and gives you all the context you need. And really, ultimately, the narrative is player directed, so it's reflecting a lot of the choices that you make throughout the game and adjusting accordingly. The world and the story adjust based off your choices.
That is so cool. I've got to say I'm really excited about this game because I had not heard of anything about it till like the last few days.
Yeah.
We've been trying to keep a lower profile, and we did a Kickstarter, and we've had backers, and that's been great to get their input. But we've been working with 505, and the decision was let's go kind of quiet until we're really ready to show something. Particularly when you're innovating, and we learned this lesson on earlier games like Thief. When the game isn't quite there, it's hard to show that. And so you really need to get to a certain point, a critical mass on the gameplay to show that. So we've been intentionally quiet, but it's time to make some noise.
It's awesome. I cannot wait. And thank you guys for coming. And thank you both for doing this interview.
Thank you so much.
All right, y'all have a good one.